Chapter 2, The Highest Prayer. We know that the prayer of the righteous availeth much, but we also know there are many prayers that seemingly are not answered prayers that are sincere, and that come from souls that we know to be righteous. And accordingly the question arises again and again, how we should so pray that we may pray not in vain. When we consider the subject of prayer, however, and examine the true spiritual significance of prayer, we find that we have in the past mistaken both the purpose of prayer and the attitude of the infinite toward the needs of man. We find in the first place that God has already given his kingdom to man, and therefore we need not ask for anything whatever. There is nothing we can ask for that we have not already received. Why then should we ask again or prayer in any form of manner? We find in the second place that although God has given us everything, still we do not always gain personal possession of the gifts of his infinite kindness and love. And therefore this entire theme becomes, for the time being, exceedingly mysterious. But the mystery disappears completely when we consider this theme through the understanding of the highest prayer. And the highest prayer may be expressed in the simplest and most beautiful manner through this remarkable statement: My Father, I thank thee that thou hearest me always. The highest prayer does not ask directly for anything that may be desired, but gives constant and deep spiritual recognition to the great truth that the infinite has from the very beginning given all things to man that may be needed for growth and ascension through eternity. And in addition to this recognition gives expression to ceaseless gratitude and sincere, unending thanksgiving. In the language of the highest prayer, we do not ask God to give us what we need or desire. We affirm in spirit and in truth that God is giving us all these things now, and we add to all our affirmations this beautiful, inspiring statement: I thank thee that thou hearest me always. When the body is ailing, we do not ask for health. We affirm, God is now and forever giving me perfect health. And the perfect health of the infinite fills me through and through, because I am in God and God is in me. We affirm, God is giving me power. God is giving me peace. God is giving me increase. God is giving me the gifts of the Spirit. In brief, whatever we find that we need in life, physically, mentally, or spiritually, we affirm that God is now giving us all these things, and this is absolutely true. God is closer than breathing. Therefore, knows what we need every hour and supplies every need at once, whatever the need may be. We shall find a remarkable difference in the working out of all our circumstances, material and spiritual, when we change our mode of prayer. That is, when we no longer implore the infinite to give us what we need, but affirm with sincere thanksgiving that God is giving us all these things now. God is eternally giving to man the all good of life, and God is giving to each human soul every day what is needed for that day. It would therefore be wrong to implore God to do what he is already doing. Instead, we should recognize his goodness by speaking this truth: God is now giving me all that I need. And in addition, we should give expression to our most sincere and heartful gratitude. When we recognize in spirit and in truth what God is doing for us, we enter into harmony with the act of his giving, and accordingly we receive every day everything that is given to us for that day. But when we do not recognize this great truth, we are not in harmony with anything that the Supreme may be doing for us, and therefore we do not receive, at the right time and place, what has truly been given to us as our very own. And possibly we may never receive those gifts in this life, but may have to depend altogether upon our own efforts for everything, efforts that are sometimes disappointing and frequently ineffectual. The truth is, however, that no soul is destined to depend upon personal efforts alone. We all must indeed use our powers and talents well, but we can accomplish but little if we work entirely alone, that is, apart from higher power and divine guidance. Great souls invariably seek constant assistance from the Supreme, and wherever they go, they always walk with God. Such souls invariably recognize the great law: My Father worketh and I work, and enter into the spiritual realization of that law absolutely. We must take God with us in all things if we would rise above mere existence and be true to the wonderful life we have been given the privilege to live. And we do not take God with us in all things when we constantly recognize the truth that God is with us always, and that he is giving us every hour what we need to make that hour full, perfect, and complete. When we understand this law that God is constantly giving to man everything that is necessary to make life all that we wish it to be, and place ourselves in perfect harmony with that law, we shall find that every need will be supplied in its true place and time. The right way will always open through that which we may gain what we desire, and realize the ideals that the great eternal now holds in store. Every day will be full to overflowing with blessings of every conceivable state or being. Every succeeding day will become richer and larger than the days that have gone before us, as we become more and more conscious of the great truth that God is giving us everything today that is needed to make this the greatest day we ever knew. And in all our efforts we will be guided to the end that we may invariably do what is best, knowing that higher power will be with us so long as we live and work for the larger life and the greater good. End of chapter.